Hey guys, I'm Chris.
Hey everybody, I'm Robert.
And we are those film flamers that you enjoy so much.
And trust our opinions when it comes to newly released horror media.
That's right. Unlike Stranger Things, which is coming out in bursts and fits, Welcome to Derry came out weekly.
That's right. Although we started watching several many weeks after it started.
That's right, which is fine. It's easy to do when you're streaming.
That's right.
This is streaming on HBO Max, and this is interesting because it's in a Muschietti-helmed show, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And he, of course, is the director of It Chapter 1 and 2 that were such big hits in the theatre. And, of course, this is all owned by, I guess, HBO Max, which is now up for sale for fucking Netflix, apparently. Yeah. But, Christmas nightmare. But because of that, it's the same universe. It's not a standalone story. It takes place within the same film universe, I guess, as the It movies, and therefore has the same Skarsgård playing Pennywise.
Yeah, it's a weird combination of like continuing like storylines and themes from the Stephen King novel, but keeping it within the universe that Muschietti created for himself, because he did change a lot of the timeline to make it a little bit more modern in his films. So
right. And so like these stories that's going on right now, normally in the books would have taken place in the 20s, I believe.
Yeah, 20s or 30s. Yeah.
And since everything is modernized to like 27 years after, like the story that took place in the 50s, now took place in the 80s. And of course that works out because, you know, that's just like the obsession now. And it did very well in the theater. And of course it's more of a speaking to like me and you's crowd, right? And older maybe. As far as like modernizing it into that realm. But this also goes back to the previous generation, and the show does take some time to very intentionally tell you that we could go backwards, we could go forwards, we could do anything, we could continue the story, we could do it in however you want. Please watch us.
And I guess that's going to be the case. I mean, because Muschietti had like a 3-year plan at least for this.
Apparently, I just read that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, because classically, for those of you who have read the Stephen King novel, like Stephen King goes back and he talks about the different cycles that the creature that is Pennywise would awaken and the things that would happen. And everything culminates in a really terrible event.
What do they call it? Like the harvesting or something?
So this one uses something directly from the novel, which is the destruction of the black spot. Yep. Right. And so like everything in this series is leading up to that kind of event. And I don't know. I mean, we are here ultimately to give you our thoughts about all 8 of the episodes together in one season.
Yep. And I want to say that, you know, things with like a multiverse attached generally keep paying dividends, right? And this is no difference, right? Stephen King verse is a verse, right? I think it's called the Dark Tower universe.
Well, I mean, most things,
that's the thing that's connecting the dots, at least.
Yeah, most things will connect back to the Dark Tower, like when the stuff that he's written, you know. So
yeah, but he has an expanding universe, and it touches on you know, some of the entities out there, right? Mm-hmm. And it is one of them, right? And one of the things that I really love is that it goes into some of the characters or references to other stuff. And this is not only Muschietti's like slice of the Kingiverse, right? His alternate reality within the multiverse of Stephen King. But we also get people like Dick Hallorann, which is one of my favorite things, if not my favorite thing about this show, is that we get Dick Hallorann from The Shining, which in the books, it does mention that he was one of the founders of the Black Spot.
Yeah. And he frequented the Black Spot. I think he was there the night that, you know, the tragedy took place, but he survived.
And because he used his gift, his shine, if you will, to, you know, save people, right? Which it doesn't really show much of that in the show, but he is there and he is saving people regardless of how he does it. But it also shows like some of his background that we get little tidbits of from The Shining, little tidbits of from It, and little tidbits of from Dr. Sleep, where we get to actually go back into his childhood and see like, you know, his, I guess his mother,
his grandmother,
and his grandfather. And I thought that was really interesting. I love that. And I know that after Dr. Sleep, Mike Flanagan had written a full movie treatment for Dick Halloran movie, you know, and after Dr. Sleep kind of flopped, even though it shouldn't have, because it was excellent. They were planning on going back and doing another movie or doing a series. And so I like that this kind of capitalized on that a little bit. And they really intentionally put this character in there. And that's one of my favorite things.
I really enjoyed Dick Halloran in this too, you know, and like as a true Stephen King fan, right? Like I had my misgivings about this particular TV series. I was excited to see it.
You were tied up in true knots.
Yeah. Yes. And I was excited because I really enjoyed the It movies, particularly the first one. The second one I had some issues with, but it was still an enjoyable movie.
Did you ever see it again?
Yeah, I did. I liked it better the second watch.
Me too. Yep, same.
But you know, I was excited to see where this director like sort of took this. And I was pleasantly surprised that he kept a lot of Stephen King stuff from the novel like into this show. And then he just expanded on the mythology surrounding like both his movie and the novel. And I think it really, really worked. And including other Stephen King stuff. Like there's Easter eggs all over this show about like random short stories that Stephen King had written and just like character names and things like that. And I really enjoy it when filmmakers do that. Like, honestly, this is the series that Castle Rock should have been, in my opinion. Yes.
Although it does really center on Pennywise and that whole thing.
Yeah. And that's fine, you know, because that's what people know and love about it. But like in the novel, this creature takes on many, many, many forms, you know?
Yes. And I like that they actually do, at least by the end, the very beginning and the end, I would say. In the middle, it's much more clown, right?
Yeah.
But in the middle, or the beginning and the end, it's bookended with him being much more of a protean kind of villain, which I really loved seeing. I thought they did an excellent job with the visuals of Pennywise and what he's capable of turning into. One of my favorites is, and there are so many in this show, like the very first, you know, you'd think they'd really want to come out swinging with, you know, the IP, which is the clown, but they really kind of like milk it a little bit. And they do things that are even worse or crazier or scarier, right? There's like a flying demon baby that becomes massive by the end like of the first episode. And then my favorite, absolute favorite, is they go into a flashback of the Native Americans who are first, you know, experiencing this thing, right? And how to kind of trap it and you know, deal with it essentially, right? And try and overcome it. And so what does this thing look like to essentially extract fear from its prey before the clown, you know? And it ends up being like this like settler priest, you know, thing, right? That is like the super long limbs. And then like, I don't want to spoil anything, but spoiler, skip ahead if you don't want to hear this, but as the thing kills one of its prey, you know, it's this giant priest that looks super menacing. And then the baby Christ pops out of its chest like a fucking chest burster from the Alien series, and then stabs like the spear of destiny and with the like a baby with like the thorned cross. It's like it's exactly what like the nightmares of, you know, of like mixing all of these like mythologies of the religion into some sort of scary thing from that perspective. And I thought that was excellently done.
It was really good.
Super cool.
And I'm glad that they kept that, you know, because one of the greatest things about this creature is that it can be whatever scares you the most, or whatever person it's trying to get. And like, as far as Pennywise being on screen, you know, I'm glad that they like kept that at bay for a little bit and really followed that route to remind you exactly what this being kind of does. And there's some really gnarly creature effects in this show, and some downright scary monsters and really scary moments. And they couldn't have done that when it's just the fucking clown running around.
So yeah, the quality of the show, visuals, what they did with Pennywise, all of that is excellent. So I would watch it again just on those merits alone. The story, it's a little dream catchery, right? Like the military is in there, and I do feel like it's echoes of different Stephen King stories. I don't know how well it meshes here. I feel like once the military gets involved and as the ball gets rolling, it starts feeling less of the 50s and more about like modern times and modern sensibilities regarding like role of women and girls compared to boys and men. And then like the role of the military and what you can actually do in the military, like pull a gun on your superior and just like be dismissed casually. And, you know, just like all kinds of weird shit would just kind of serve the story instead of like any kind of realism. So it would kind of take me out of it a little bit. Like the whole black spot scene is supposed to be horrific. And it is at first. And then you have characters having heartfelt conversations in the middle of this fucking fire when no real human in reality would be able to even breathe. That, you know.
No, you're right. Because that bothered me too. When the moment of the black spot's destruction and the massacre happens, like I thought that it was really well done at first. I was like, all right, this is shot well. It looks scary and really frightening. And then it just kept going on and on and on. And I was just like, these people would have succumbed to fucking like smoke inhalation by now, but they're still like managing to escape, some of them and whatnot. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And also I felt like at least one writer had a problem trying to like make a metaphor when there is not really a metaphor here. In my opinion, they even say outright, just like in fucking Frankenstein, which we didn't enjoy as much, where there's like, you're the monster, not Frankenstein. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's like all of these lines that people say now to spell things out so that people can look at their phones while they watch things, I guess. Right. And that's like a trend that I hate, but they say something similar in this show near the end where it's like the town is the monster. And I'm like, actually, that's not true. The monster is the monster.
Yeah.
Right.
Town.
We know from the mythology that the town is having a literal psychic reaction to this monster. Mm-hmm. Right. And anyone that is inside of it and anyone that's outside of it.
And they say that clearly in the novel. They say it in both the Muschietti movies. They say it in the miniseries. They say it in this. Like, this creature is affecting all the town and its people and its actions. And like, you know, these people may not be acting that way without that guided force. You know, I will say, like, given the time period, yes, these people probably would have.
And from her limited perspective, she doesn't know all that. You know, from her limited perspective, the monster is a distinct thing, and she doesn't know what it psychic be. You know, all that stuff. So she may not just be like savvy, but like the audience is gonna like read into lines like that as like this is the exclamation point on the story. Like the town is the monster. I'm like, no. Also, I did not enjoy as much like the groups of kids. I mean, like we get one cohort of kids and they're like basically killed off, which is like, yay, good, awesome.
Yeah.
You're brave for being able to establish all these characters and then kill them off like almost right away. And then like we start getting like a coalescing of like this other friend group that kind of coalesces with people dropping in and dropping out of it, which I thought was a cool way to do it, but also did just with the way they interact and like the way they're freely roaming around the town like that and everything else just reminds me of the 80s more than the 50s.
Yeah. And
these are all kind of nitpicks. It's just they kind of mount up. You know what I mean?
It does, because I dislike this particular brand of Losers Club, you know, far more than I do the other one. And I actually like that.
They don't deserve like the every fucking moment where like there's a violin plays and they all have to have a group hug. You know, it's like they have not been through enough with each other, you know, to deserve that moment. They haven't earned it. You know what I mean? And we get about 10 of them. Like, I swear there's like 10 group hugs with this group. And it's just like, no, you have not gone through it for multiple years like these kids in the original It story.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that like they haven't been friends long enough. And I don't buy how quickly their friendship develops, you know, and they really had like 10 episodes to explore this, but I feel like the dynamic of these kids, it's more about how they interact with their own families and parents more than it is interacting with their friends.
Yeah.
This is not about finding friends and finding support, you know, like the It kids do. Like, this is more about like kids reacting to a family dynamic and change that's happening. I do like that this.
It makes it more into like a Stranger Things where it's just like the kids are the heroes and that's it.
Yeah.
You know?
And even barely, because I think more often than not, adults are saving the day.
That's right.
In this. And that's perfectly fine.
Also, some of the things that it is doing with these kids, like there was a whole thing where it seemed like it was more about the audience than it was about what's happening in the story, with, I think, it for an entire episode pretending to be a kid that's not actually alive. And that is not something that it has ever done before in any kind of long-term thing. It would be a quick setup and trap, but it's not like that. It was just meant to fool the audience for a water cooler moment, and I don't like that. I like it to be a little bit more organic. So like some things they did were outright manipulative to the audience that didn't really make sense within the mythology. And every time that happens, it kind of cheapens the whole thing, takes me out of it, and makes it just that much more not emotionally engaging, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would agree because, I mean, ultimately, like this creature is not going to waste a moment that it could kill someone.
It does not need to lure you into the source.
Yeah. It's not about the hunt for this thing. It's just about the meal.
It is all about, is all about daytime horror and daylight horror, where it can just grab you from anywhere, from the school, from anywhere within its realm.
That's right. And I mean, like you said, these are kind of nitpicks because overall I really did enjoy the show. I thought the acting was decent from most of these actors. I really enjoyed Taylor Page, who played Will's mom, like Will Hanlon's mom, and the wife of the soldier. Yeah. And what was her name? Charlotte. And I really enjoyed the guy who played DeCalloran. I thought that he did a really good job.
Yeah.
And
although that character, that actress, funny, I was looking at an interview and she said she had a real problem with the ending, with her staying in Derry. She thought that character she's like, maybe it's about the 50s or women's place and just being okay settling down. But like, she was feeling like not only would like a woman and a mother being through all that there not want to do that, but like as a Black person, noping out of the situation. And she's like, that is so unrealistic of this character, or for any character that I know, that would want to stay in that town after that.
Well, it's another thing about serving the story, right? Because these are the Hanlons, and then Mike Hanlon later on would be a member of the Losers Club. So they had to like use this family to sort of cement that if they left, that would change the entire timeline of things.
Yeah, but if they can't really have it both ways, but they keep trying to do that, that sort of thing. And it's a writing problem. But I think the story is good, whether or not it needed to be 8 full episodes. Is up for debate. To try and get those like water cooler moments or episode to episode. If you try and force a format rather than a story, like the story needs to fit the format that serves it best, right? And this, I think, mostly this works. This works great for a really long form, storytelling. But I do feel like there was a little bit of weird fluff here. I did not need all of the stuff about keeping this thing caged with the spears of its comet or whatever.
Yeah.
It got a little Lord of the Ringsy with like treating one of the spears of like the little stalactites of the comet, like it's like the ring or something, where it like has a psychological effect on you. Like it wants to return to its master or something like that. And it's like, no, this is completely fucking stupid. This is just stupid. Stephen King never would have done that.
No.
Stop it.
No, he would not. And I mean, you're right. I don't think we need it because there's no real explanation as to why this thing doesn't.
We've seen the set,
else,
like all that material. And even in the flashback, it's surrounding where if that was a cage, he wouldn't have been able to leave his little 10-foot radius from where he crashed. It doesn't make any sense, right? And then they make that into the entire final act, and I really loved the beginning and middle of this. I love the psychic stuff. Made me want to watch Dr. Sleep again. I love the DeCalloran stuff. A lot of the kid stuff is great. All of the Pennywise stuff is wonderful, usually. So I'd still rate this pretty highly, and I hope for more seasons, but I don't want it to be a slave to a format. You know what I mean? And I don't want them to just go off the rails, jump the shark with stuff that even Stephen King wouldn't play with.
Well, I mean, I would say that it like shit the bed at the end, and Stephen King has done that many times.
Oh yeah, it's actually much more King-like for having a weird ending,
But I mean, like it is apparently Andy Muschietti's life now because I know that he's riding high on this right now, and he already has plans for like at least 2 more seasons. And I assume one season will go backward again, and then another season will go forward past the movies that we've seen. At least that's what I would gather from all the conversation about it.
Yeah. So when would be the next one? Like mid 2000s or 2010s?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. When did that happen? So it was in the 80s and then 27 years later. So yeah, it would be 27 years after that. So it'd be like well into the future. I don't know. But like there is more stories to tell from the novel.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Because chapter 2 takes place in modern-ish times, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would like say 2012, 2013 or something, right? And then, 23, 33 would be in the 2040s.
And I'm interested to see like what he would do sequel wise to his films, and I'm also interested to see how he would tackle like the disaster that happened right before the black spot, right? Which would be like the ironworks explosion.
It also didn't really it showed him almost like just taking advantage of it rather than setting it up. And in the books, they give him a lot more credit for those events. Mm-hmm. Right. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, out of 5 stars, what would you rate the entirety of this season?
The entirety, I would give it a 4.
I would agree with that. I think it's a very well-deserved 4-star season.
Yeah.
You're right. I think a lot of it is fluff, and you can cut out probably entire whole episodes of things. And this man is no stranger to making long movies. So, like, at the end of the day, could this have been just a very long movie? I don't know. Maybe not.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they try to do too much. It would have to be just about the adults or just about the kids, based on the amount of storytelling we got. But I don't know. Yeah. It could have at least been like a 2-parter movie. So it's like, could this thing have been done in 4 episodes? Yes. Or 2 movies.
Well, he wants to make a 6-hour supercut of the 2 movies at some point and add in some things that was cut as well. So who knows? Maybe he'll be doing that soon.
I don't know that we need that. Like the more complex he tries to make it, the story, because this is pretty, this is a story about overcoming fear. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. And also we have literally a man without fear in this that they did not fucking use.
No.
The military did, but they never fucking used him to like actually have some sort of like confrontation with Pennywise. Mm-hmm. Like, what does that? I was fascinated by that. I was like, what happens? Like, because it can kill anyone. It doesn't need the fear. It just really wants it,
Unexplored.
It doesn't like the pork rind, but it can still eat it,
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to find out. But you're right. They did not explore that at all. They set it up real nicely.
Yeah, but who wants to stay in this timeline? I mean, they've already ended it. It's 27 years.
No, it's done. Timeline's done. Time to move on. Or backward. Time to move back.
I think you can only go backwards.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that just about wraps up this hot take on it. Welcome to Derry, Season 1. As always, we want to know what you think about the show if you watched it and our conversation about it. So go over to social medias and find us at The Film Flamers on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky Threads, all the places.
Yes, and you can email us at tiredqueens@filmflamers.com or call our hotline at 972-666-7733 and let us know all of your thoughts with your own voice. And we do recommend you watch the show so that we can have a discussion about it. If you're already a fan, especially of the Stephen Kingiverse and the It films, or even the old It TV movie with Tim Curry, this is definitely a watch. So don't miss it. Don't.
Well, Chris.
Well, Robin.
I think it's time for us to
fuck off
and have some
dairy.
No, it makes my tummy hurt.
Makes me gassy. Sweet memes.
Sweet memes.
Merry Chrysler.